Number 6, we found the wounded man lying, L-Y-I-G, lying on the floor, no object. She is lying. She has become accustomed to lying down for a short nap before dinner. The baby. Lay the baby in its crib, and perhaps it will go to sleep. Lay the object is babies. You lay the baby. Okay. We saw a baby and it lying in the body. 10. If you lay in a stock of coal, now you may have some money you may save some money next winter. If you lay stock, okay, stock. If you lay stock's the object. If you lay in a stock of coal, you may have some money next winter. All right, now every verb has a past tense, and lie and lay are no exceptions. This is where our trouble really starts. Past tense of lay is laid. Reason enough so far. But the past tense of lie is lay. Oh, this is not a misprint. Lay is the past tense of the verb lie. Lay is the past tense of the verb lie. It is not, of course, the same lay as the transitive verb with which we have been dealing. Lay as a verb in the past tense. That is the past tense of lie. It is an intransitive verb. Before you become too confused to be of any further use to society, let us make a table. The verb. Lay, transitive. Lay is a transitive. Present tense is lay. Past tense is laid. The verb lie, intransitive. Present tense is lie. The past tense is lay. For example, lay is a transitive verb. Today I lay a baby. Baby in the crib. Baby is the object. Yesterday I laid the baby in the crib. Same thing, baby is the object. All right, now lie. Today I lie down. No object. Yesterday I laid down. I lay down. Yesterday I lay down. L-A-Y, lay down. It's the past tense of lie. Intransitive without a object. Yesterday I lay down. Okay, to be sure. Complete each sentence with the correct past tense of the required verb. She lay down for a nap this morning. Yesterday, when she lay down for a nap. Her dinner bun. 3. She laid the work aside for a few days. 4. The nurse laid the patient on her back and then called the doctor in. 5. We laid the foundation of our understanding of lay and lie by presenting 3 clear-cut principles. 6. He lay quietly for a moment, then finally arose and began to dress. If success crowned your attempts in Test 33, you are ready for further troubles. To wit, lay and lie have a third tense, which often proves troublesome namely the perfect. The perfect tense of the transitive verb lay is have laid, L-A-I-D. We have laid rugs in all the rooms. The perfect tense of the intransitive verb lie is have lain. Have you lain awake all night? The perfect tense of any verb is that form which combines has, have, having, or had with the past participles. Here are further examples of the use of the perfect tenses of lay and lie. She has laid her winter garments away. The lawyers had already laid the groundwork for an appeal, so there were only a few papers to prepare and sign. Having laid his business cares away for the day, he went to the Stork Club to meet Gypsy Rose Lee. Baby has lain asleep for 2 hours. She has lain down for a nap when her husband came home. Having lain on the shelves all year, the books had gathered a considerable layer of dust. The perfect tense is a verb phrase made up of 2 parts. A, the auxiliary has, have, had, or having. B, the past participle. In the case of the 2 verbs under discussion, laid and lain. Has, had, have, or having is called an auxiliary, since it helps the main verb. The past participle of any verb is that form used in the perfect tenses. Has work, have lain, have known, and so on. The italicized form are the past participles of work, lie, and know. Has work, had lain, have known, and so on. There is still another participle, the present participle, which is the ing form of the verb. Working, laying, buying, knowing, seeing, and so on. We can now considerably amplify the table we made earlier. The verb lay, L-A-Y, is a transitive verb. Present tense is lay, L-A-Y. Past tense is laid, L-A-I-D. The past participle is laid, L-A-I-D. The present participle is laying, L-A-Y-I-N-G. The verb lie is intransitive verb. Present tense is lie, L-I-E. The past tense is lay, L-A-Y. The past participle is lain, L-A-I-N. The present participle is lying, L-Y-I-N-G. Now, if you could somehow manage to memorize this diagram, you would be well on your way towards conquering any difficulties you might ever happen to have with lay and lie. And performing this feat of memory will take you no longer than 2.5 minutes. Students in my class do it every term and that time or less. One final thought: you may possibly run into a little confusion on this minor point. The past of lie is lay. He lay asleep all morning. However, in the negative and interrogative forms of the sentence, we allow the auxiliary to carry the burden of expressing past time and keep the main verb lie unchanged. Interrogative. Did he lie asleep all morning? Negative. He did not lie asleep all morning. The negative and interrogative forms of lay follow the same rules as do all negative and interrogative verbs in English. Affirmative. We laid the child in the crib. Negative. We did not lay the child in its crib. Interrogative. Did we lay the child in its crib? That is the full story of lay and lie. There are only three simple principles to keep in mind. Lie is intransitive. Lie is intransitive. Lay is transitive. Only lay has a passive voice. Once you have mastered these principles, the rest is a matter of forming good habits. Forming them so well that they become reflective. There is no sanction whatever for any misuse of either verb. There is no trend whatever among educated speakers to substitute forms of lay for forms of lie, though the tendency is very much pronounced among speakers whose grammar is generally incorrect. If you study the history of English words, you will observe many instances in which one word displaces another of closely allied meaning. Today, in educated speech, further is displacing farther. Will is displacing shall, and prone is displacing supine. There were at one time certain distinctions between shall and will, further and farther, prone and supine. But farther, shall, and supine are today practically obsolete words. The displacement which I have described is one of the factors making for the fine economy of the English language. However, lay and lie are apparently impervious to this common trend in educated speech. Lay does not show any promise or portent of ever displacing lie, though it has already completely done so in uneducated speech. The problem at the beginning of this chapter, lay, the first sentence is correct, because a transitive verb is required. The verb has an object, namely pistol. In the second sentence, there is no object. The verb is intransitive, and so lie is the only acceptable form. Number 3, the rule. Lie is intransitive. Lay is transitive. Lie has only an active voice. Lay may be either active or passive. Number 3, the rule. Lie is intransitive. Lie is intransitive. Without an object. Without an object. Lay is transitive with an object. Lie has only an active voice. An active voice, that means the subject initiates the action of the verb. Lay may be either active or passive. Passive voice gives the action to the subject, gives the action. Yeah. All right, Dookie. How to remember the rule. The I in lie will remind you of intransitive, which begins with the letter I. The A in lay will remind you of transitive and passive. Right. Both these terms, the first vowel is A. How to remember this rule? The I in lie will remind you of intransitive, which begins with the letter I. The A in lay will remind you of transitive and passive. In both these terms, the first vowel is A. The test. Number 1, the patient lying on the couch. The patient is lying on the couch. 2, lay the baby down so the doctor can't examine him. 3, Estelle has lain down for a nap. 4, Alan picked up the sticks and laid them straight. 5, we lay in the sun all yesterday morning. 6, he laid his hand on the controls, waiting for the signals to start the train. 7, have you laid away your summer clothes yet? 7, have you laid, L-A-I-D, laid away your summer clothes, laid. Have you laid away your summer clothes yet? 8, the bill has lain, L-A-I-N, lain. Bill has lain on the president's desk all week, waiting for his signature. 9, which cell did you lay the curtains on? 10, did you lie on your back all night? Number 11, why don't you lie down for a short rest before supper? Number 12, there the diamond lay in the gutter, and hundreds of people passed by and never noticed it. Last best of the lie. Number 13, let sleeping dogs lie. 14, there he was lying on the hard floor. 15, the work has been carefully laid out for you. You should have very little difficulty. 16, certain principles of government were laid, where governments were laid down by the founding fathers in the United States Constitution. 17, if she had only lain quietly, this would not have happened. 18, laid on its side, the child was able to breathe better. Lying on its side, the child was able to breathe better. Let us lay our plans carefully. Let us lay our plans carefully, and nothing will go wrong. Again, it's easy, it's ABC. What is the difference between fiancé and fiancé? F-I-A-N-C-E and F-I-A-N-C-E-E. The grammar of meanings. Fiancé and fiancée. Sex is one of the most delightful phenomena of human living. It is sometimes one of the most confusing. This confusion occasionally spills over into grammar. We are all of us more or less adjusted to the unavoidable facts that there are two sexes, male and female. This being a book on grammar rather than one on an abnormal psychology, we'll ignore any other possibilities. There little confusion exists as to the difference between these two sexes. Some bewilderment attaches at times to the grammar of sex. We have already learned that a male is an alumnus, a female an alumnae. A man is an aviator, an executor, a masseur, a waiter, an actor. A woman is an navigatrix, and an executrix, masseuse, a waitress, and an actress. The demarcanization of sex has gone further in English than in many foreign languages. In French, for example, everything, animated or inanimated, animal, vegetable, or mineral, is either masculine or feminine, sometimes with ridiculous results, as in the case of la barbe, the beard, which is feminine. In Latin, every word is either masculine, feminine, or neuter, not according to strict logic, but more likely in accordance with the spelling of the word. But in English, both grammatically and logically, a doctor, a lawyer, a worker, a thief, a genius may be either male or female, either masculine or feminine. The difference between fiancé and fiancée is entirely one of sex, as you would logically expect. But the one E is a man with two E's. Fiancée is a woman. Both words are pronounced identically. Fiancé, fiancé. The French accent on the E may or may not be used in spelling either fiancé or fiancée. His fiancée is a beautiful blonde with the two E's, F-I-A-N-C-E. Her newest fiancé, has just joked her with a one E, F-I-A-N-C-E. Your fiancé, said John to his sister, is handsome enough, but has a brains with a one E, F-I-A-N-C-E. A king of England gave up a throne for his fiancée, with two E's, F-I-A-N-C-E. The grammar of allowable errors. The above remarks are not intended to imply. The above is a verbatim report of. The remarks quoted above, verbal function, modifying the participle adjective quoted, is the only use sanctioned in pedantic circles. The above remarks, adjective, and the above is true. Now, are used which have always been so current in educated speech and writing that it is ridiculous to condemn such constructions. Holy notes the adjective and noun used in a number of reputable authors and add, any writer may feel free at any time to use the above statement with only slightly less assurance. The above will prove either case he has the authority of scholarly and standard literature. The grammar of correct usage. 3/4 of the work is done, or 3/4 of the work are done. A unit of measure, when it has a collective meaning, is generally treated as a singular. Even if it is a plural form. Thus, 2/3 of the population is illiterate. Or if this the book is sheer pornography. 3/4 of the day was spent in idleness. $2,000 a year is a lot of money. 26 cents is too much for that candy. 6 yards is too long. 5 bushels per acre is a good yield. 2 pounds is all I need. On the other hand, consider these. 2/3 of the pupils were sick. Pupils of the pupils, plural. 4/5 of the books were damaged, of the books, plural. 2/3 of the population are farmers. 3/4 of the soldiers were killed. Half the students were ill. Majority of men prefer lines. When a fraction or a measuring word like majority indicates a single idea or a collective unity, 2/3 of the work, a singular verb is required. 2/3 of the work is done. However, when a fraction or measuring word is followed by a prepositional phrase containing a plural noun, 3/4 of the soldiers, or in some other way shows strong plurality. A plural verb is required. 2/3 of the men are farmers. 3/4 of the population are farmers. Preferable forms. 3/4 of the work is done. Chapter 16. How to let circumstances alter cases. Number 1, the problem, which is correct. It is I, or it is me, the solution. You have become adjusted to the fact that personal pronouns changes forms according to case, and to the added fact that case depends on circumstances. You know that the objective case, namely me, him, her, us, and them, is used when the pronoun is object of the verb or object of the preposition. He called John and me. This letter is addressed to me and him. And you know that the nominative case, namely I, he, she, we, and they, is used when the pronoun is subject of the verb. He and I will do it. The nominative case is also used as the complement of a copulative verb. What is a complement and what is a copulative verb? A complement, note the spelling, complement, is a word which completes the meaning of the verb. The object is one form of complement. I take is relatively incomplete in meaning. Add an object, book, and the meaning of your sentence becomes relatively complete. I take the book. A copulative verb is one which expresses not action, but state of being. To be, or any one of its forms, is a copulative verb. To be has a large family, and every member is a copulative verb. Am, are, is, was, were, shall be, will be, would be, should be, could be, may be, might be, has been, had been, have been, will have been, would have been, should have been, may have been, might have been, could have been. A transitive verb in the active voice transmits action from the subject to the complement, as in I know a doctor, in which action is transmitted from the subject I to the object or complement doctor. But a copulative verb does not transmit action. Instead, it establishes an identity when we say, I am a doctor. We are expressing the fact that I and doctor are the same person. We are establishing the identity of subject and complement. Let me repeat that. When we say, I am a doctor, we are expressing the fact that I and doctor are the same person. We are establishing the identity of subject and complement. The complement of a copulative verb is identical to the subject not only in meaning but also in case. Let's repeat that again, dude. The complement of a copulative verb is identical to the subject not only in meaning but also in case. The subject of a verb, as you know, is in the nominative case. Therefore, the complement of a copulative verb is also in the nominative case. In the sentence, I am a doctor, I is the subject, am a doctor is the predicate. The complement doctor then is in the predicate of the sentence. And it is in the nominative case. Such a complement, therefore, is called not an object, but a predicate nominative. Repeat that, Duke. In the sentence, I am a doctor, I is the subject, am a doctor is the predicate. The complement doctor then is in the predicate of the sentence, and it is in the nominative case. Such a complement, therefore, is called not an object, but a predicate nominative. In the problem under consideration, it is I or it is me. The pronoun in question is the predicate nominative of the sentence. In the problem under consideration, it is I, or it is me. The pronoun in question is the predicate nominative of the sentence. Now, if we consider the expression from the point of view of grammatical rule, it is I is the only allowable form. The rule is clear and to the point. The complement of a copulative verb is in the nominative case. The complement of a copulative verb is in the nominative case. But correct English is not always entirely predicated on grammatical rules. Rules are sometimes violated. The rule about using the nominative I as a complement of the copulative verb to be is violated rather consistently by a large number of educated speakers. According to a survey made by the National Council of Teachers of English, among several hundred of high school and college teachers of English and speech, editors, established authors, linguists, and grammarians, and business executives, it is me is considered established acceptable English, even though a rule is being violated. Most of the experts questioned admitted that they used it as me in their own speech and hear it from their contemporaries. And some of them went so far as to label it as I pedantic and stilted. Should you be confronted with a choice between I and me as the complement of a copulative verb on, say, a civil service test or a high school or college English examination, you would, of course, select the nominative form, where obviously you are being tested on your knowledge of grammatical rules. However, in informal conversation and writing, you should feel perfectly free to use it as me, which is accepted in common usage, in place of it as I, which conforms to grammatical rule. In all consistency, it would seem that the objective form of the other personal pronouns, that is, him, her, us, and them, should also be acceptable as complements of a copulative verb. However, such is the illogicality of language. That is not so. Educated speakers who unquestionably say it is me generally shy away from it is him, it is her, it is us, and the like. We may possibly account for this anomaly by reasoning that it is me or a variant form is more likely to crop up with some frequencies in everyday conversation than are the other forms. Who's there? It's me. That's me all over. Which picture is me? Is that picture supposed to be me? No, sir, not on your life. That's not me in 100 years. In informal speech and writing, friendly letters, scribbled inter-office memos, and the like, you may certainly feel free to say, it is me, or it's me, or that's me, or it wasn't me, without any acute feelings of guilt. The answer to our problem, then, is that both forms, it is I and it is me, are correct. One by virtue of grammatical rule, and the other by virtue of common educated usage. The rule, the nominative pronoun, is used as the complement of a copulative verb. However, the expression "it is me" or any variant is acceptable in informal speech and writing. Correct. It is I, equally acceptable. It is me. Correct. It's I, equally acceptable. It's me. Correct. It will be I, equally acceptable. It will be me. Correct. It has always been I, equally acceptable. It has always been me. Did you think it was I? Did you think it was me? Correct. It is he, not universally acceptable. It is him. Correct. It was she. Unacceptable. It was her. It will be they. Unacceptable. It will be them. Acceptable. It will be, it wasn't we. It wasn't we. Not acceptable. It wasn't us. Correct. I thought you were they. Incorrect. I thought you were them. Correct. This is he. Incorrect. This is him. Applying grammatical principles strictly check the proper form of the pronoun in each sentence. Choose a nominative pronoun as a subject of the verb or as a complement of a capital verb. Choose an objective pronoun as object of the verb or in a case of a preposition, object of the preposition. Was it she you were talking about? 2. It is we. You will have to answer if anything goes wrong. Number 3, he and Frank are our best workers. Number 4, let's keep this information strictly between us men. Between us men. 5, why he spoke to you and me as if we were babies. 6, he sent Charlie, Jerome, and me over to the main post office. Number 7, now it is I who am at a loss for words. Number 8, was it they? Was it they? It was they. We gave you all the misinformation. Number 9, an American is he. An American is he who loves America. Number 10, that picture doesn't look a bit like me. Number 11, that picture surely isn't I. Isn't. Number 12, it won't be he who will suffer, it will be I. 13, why don't you invite her and her brother to go with you? Number 14, everyone seemed more satisfied except her. 15, no one but him would take the offer seriously. Some added information about pronouns that will prove useful in later work. Some added information about pronouns that will prove useful in later work. Personal pronouns have numbers. I, you, he, and she are singular. We, you, and they are plural. I and we are considered first-person pronouns, an arbitrary distinction referring to the fact that I and we describe the person speaking, the one who is speaking. You is considered a second-person pronoun, the person spoken to. He, she, and they are considered third-person pronouns, the person spoken about. We can combine our knowledge of person, number, and cases to the following table. Personal pronouns, singular. First-person nominative case, I. Plural nominative, we. The objective, first person, the objective is me. Plural, the objective is us. Second person, nominative, you, nominative you. Second person, objective you. Plural you. Third person, nominative, he, she. Plural, nominative they. Third person, objective, him, her, objective them. That you has two identifying numbers, singular and plural, is due, of course, to the fact that whether we address one person or many, we use the word you interchangeably. This lack of distinction between singular and plural seems to cause a certain amount of instinctive annoyance to many ungrammatical speakers, that you will hear them addressing a number of people as yous or perhaps ye's and z's. Many educated Southerners prefer the expression you all to indicate plurality. I have it on good authority that Southerners say you all only when speaking to one or more persons.
Especially after Davis suspended the writ of habeas corpus, thus imprisoning citizens without bringing charges against them. And later, when Davis demanded a conscription bill in May 1865, federal troops arrested Stevens in Georgia, and he spent 5 months in a Boston prison before being freed. In 1866, he was elected to the United States Senate, but was not permitted to take his seat. However, he did begin serving again in the House in 1873. He resigned that seat 9 years later when he was elected governor of Georgia, the office he held at the time of his death. Himself into Illinois politics with great energy. He rose to power in that state's Democratic Party. After 2 unsuccessful attempts, Douglas was elected to the House of Representatives in 1843. He resigned his seat 4 years later to enter the Senate.
She was most aggravated by what happened. Aggravated had, as its original meaning, made worse, intensify. In recent years, the word has been used with the added meaning of provoked, annoyed, exasperated, irritated. Academic textbooks and speech manuals have never sanctioned the new meaning of aggravated. But educated people go on using the word to express the idea of exasperated. Notwithstanding everything considered, it would be pedantic and narrow-minded to consider the following expressions incorrect. What an aggravating child. I was never so aggravated in all my life. She aggravates me with her prissy affections. This is an aggravating situation. The grammar of correct usage. 1 or 2 books is enough, or 1 or 2 books are enough. The plural verb is used with the phrase 1 or 2. Thus, 1 or 2 of my friends have already received checks. Here are 1 or 2 things you have omitted. And at least 1 or 2 of your answers were satisfactory. Preferable form, 1 or 2 books are enough. How to test a verb, chapter 14. Number 1, the problem. Doctor, my child and I would like to visit you tomorrow. Is correct English. Is it also correct to say, Doctor, can you see my child and I tomorrow? The solution. When I was a child, others used to spend time which might preferably have been devoted to more important things on warning their young to show politeness by putting themselves last. unless the war has had an even more devastating effect on women than the sociologists are admitting. Mothers still admonish their offsprings as they did 30 years ago. Don't say me and John want some bread and jelly. Say John and I want some bread and jelly. The child of my day. I have checked this observation with a number of honest adults who had childhoods contemporaneous with mine. Soon developed the notion that me was not quite as elegant a term as I, although, or so it seemed in juvenile logic, both words meant exactly the same thing. Me was not as elegant as I, nor anywhere nearly as acceptable to grown-up years. As children, we learned that we could get things quicker and with a lot less wrangling if we substituted I for me. Whenever such a substitution was even remotely possible or plausible. So we substituted, with the result that a lot of us grew up with the habit of raising our thoughts in such patterns as, there isn't enough food for both he and I. Why don't you let Mary and I try it? Between you and I don't believe a word she is saying. Doctor, can you see my child and I today? The problem, however, is not one of politeness, but of case. Our experience with case has thus far been somewhat limited. In Chapter 8, we discover that personal pronouns had different forms for different cases. Let us refresh your memory. Nominative form of the personal pronoun. I, you, he, she. Plural. We, you, and they. Objective form of the personal pronoun. Singular. Me, you, him, and her. Plural. Us, you, and them. We have learned also that the objective forms of these pronouns are used as objects of prepositions. We wish now to begin to round out our knowledge of case by considering two other uses. Use 1, the nominative case of the pronoun, is used as subject of the verb. My child and I would like to visit you. My wife and I are happy to see you. She and I simply do not get along. We and they have been friends for years. Use number 2. The objective case of the personal pronoun is used as object of the verb. But what is an object? To answer this question, let us first recall what we have learned about subjects. The subject of the verb is the person or thing we were talking about. Works. He sees. He is seen. In some instance, the subject initiates the action of the verb, as in illustrations 1 and 2. When this happens, the verb is said to be in the active voice. We talk about a subject, say Harry Truman. What does Harry Truman do? What action does he initiate? Harry Truman outsmarts Congress. Outsmarts is a verb in the active voice. On the other hand, The subject of a verb may in some instances receive the action of the verb, as in illustration number 3. He is seen. When this happens, the verb is said to be in the passive voice. We talk about a subject say, not to become anonymous, Herbert Hoover. What happens to Herbert Hoover? What action does he receive? Herbert Hoover is sent to Europe to study food problems. Is sent is a verb in the passive voice. Verbs in the passive voice are always in phrase form. That is made up of one or two parts. Made up of two or more parts, and are composed of some form of the verb to be, plus the perfect participle. Passive verb form, was sent. Will be recognized. Has been found. Is found. The italicized part of the verb phrase are perfect participles. If the subject receives the action of the verb, frequently the initiator of that action is also found within the sentence. Such initiator occurs within a prepositional phrase introduced by the preposition by. Number 1, active voice. Benny sent me. Me is the object. The passive voice. I was sent by Benny. The subject receives the action of the verb. Benny sent me. He was the initiator. He initiates the verb with the action. Number 2, active. He will recognize you. Passive. You will be recognized by him. Number 3, active. Women have used cosmetics for centuries. Passive. Cosmetics have been used by women for centuries. Number 4, active. Diligent hunters find a house to live in. Passive. A house to live in is found by diligent hunters. To get back to objects, the subject of an active verb initiates the action of that verb. The subject of an active verb initiates the action of that verb. The object of an active verb receives the action of that verb. The object of an active verb receives the action of that verb. Each of the active verbs illustrated above, 1 to 4, has an object. In Benny sent me, the verb was sent, the object me. In the number 2, he will recognize you. The verb is will recognize, the object you. Number 3, women have used cosmetics for centuries. Have used is the verb and cosmetic is the object. Cosmetics. Diligent hunters find a house to live in. Find is the verb and house is the object. The subject of a passive verb never receives the action. A passive verb never has an object. The subject of a passive verb receives the action. A passive verb never has an object. The object of an active verb receives the action. So now you know what an object is. For the present, let us work with this temporary definition of an object. An object of the verb is a noun or pronoun which receives the action of that verb, provided the verb is active. Only active verbs have objects. When an active verb has an object, such a verb is called transitive. When an active verb has an object, such a verb is called transitive. The term transitive is made up of two Latin roots, trans, T-R-A-N-S, cross, and it goes, transitive. The action of a transitive verb goes across to an object. However, not all active verbs have objects as witness. Truman runs for office, an active verb without an object. Trains never arrive on time. Trains never arrive on time. Can we come into your house? An active verb which has no object is called logically enough intransitive. Intransitive. An active verb which has no object is called intransitive. An active verb with an object is called transitive. Every active verb in a sentence is either transitive or intransitive. Transitive verbs have objects. Transitive verbs have objects. Intransitive verbs do not have objects. It's as simple as that. But can you rely on your ability to determine whether or not a verb has an object? Can you see the difference, furthermore, between an active and a passive verb? Decide whether the verb in each sentence is transitive, intransitive, or passive. Underline the object if there is one. He found his wife in the arms of another man. Transitive verb, the object, wife. Number 2. He was found drunk on the corner of Hollywood and Vine. It's in a passive verb. Number 3, the judge found for the defendants. It's intransitive. The judge found no object. Number 4, he ran faster than ever. Same thing, intransitive. He ran faster. No object. Intransitive. Number 5, the meal was eaten in silence. Passive. Was he? Me or was he? Number 6. They ate in gloomy silence, intransigent, no object to eat. Number 7. They ate all the leftovers. Transitive. Object is leftovers. Number 8. The enemy attacked in force. The enemy attacked in force is a transitive. No object. Number 9. The enemy attacked our position at dawn. Is transitive. The object is position. Number 10. Who last saw Hitler alive? Transitive. Hitler is the object. Who saw Hitler? Right. Number 11. By whom? By whom was Hitler last seen alive? It's a passive voice. 12. We arrived on time. Intransitive. No object. 13. Lay that pistol down. Transitive. The object is pistol. Subject, you understood. We lay pistol. That's a transitive. 14. Lie down for a nap. You lie down for a nap. It's passive. Now it's a transitive. You lie down, that's right. You lie down. You lie down. Intransitive. Okay. The body was laid in the grave. Passive. Okay, Doogie. Personal pronouns which function as object of a verb are in the objective case. I see him. He sees me. We see them. They see us. If two pronouns function as object of the verb, they are both the objective case. This pleases him and me. Can you see her and him? If a noun and pronoun form the compound object of the verb, the pronoun is in the objective case. Can you see John and me now? We heard Paul and her growling. Why do you keep Ben and us free? You can't treat us girls that way. With this information, you can easily solve the problem which opened this chapter. Doctor, can you see my child and I or me tomorrow? The pronoun is part of the compound object of the verb phrase. Can see, hence the objective case is required. The correct form, doctor, can you see my child and me tomorrow? Number 3, the rule. As object of the verb, the personal pronoun is always in the objective case. Number 1, Harriet Dorn and I will attend the dance together. Number 2, she and Ira certainly make a cute couple. Number 3, you and we had better go together, I think. You and we. Number 4, send Mr. Sack and me separate bills, if you will. Take her father and her to the next room, please. 6. This matter can best be settled, I believe, between him and his lawyer. Number 7. How was the letter addressed? Was it addressed to his father and him, or to his mother and him? Number 8. That's something you can decide yourself, or else you and she, it's not the case different. You and she can decide it between you. I'm reading it again. It's not the case of she. That's something you can decide yourself, or else you and she, either you and she can decide for yourself. Number 9. We'll leave the decision up to you and them. Number 10. Everyone is willing to play along with us, but her and Bob. But will you serve him and me now? Number 12. Women treat husband a rather unsportsmanlike manner, but she's thinking. 13. Will you watch Ira and her so they don't get into trouble? 14. Please write your mother and me at least once a week. 15. Please call your father and me whenever you are in town. 16. Did you invite us and the Harrisons to your party? 17. He considers Margie and me his best friends. Number 18. We saw Sam and her together last night. 19. They and we are not close friends. They and we are not friends. Not the case, they and we. Do you consider them and us, a different case, them and us, friends? All right, now, Dickie, what is the difference between uninterested and uninterested, disinterested? The grammar of meanings, uninterested, disinterested. The child sits in a classroom on a spring day, his mind far away. The subject bores him. The teacher bores him. He is totally indifferent to every activity in the classroom. He would like to be out fishing, playing baseball, swimming. His inattentiveness is perfect. He is uninterested. A judge sits on the bench, listening carefully to the evidence, pro and con. While the opposing sides present to him, he is far from being bored. His interest is most keen. His attentiveness to all that is going on is tremendous. The questions he asked of the defendant and plaintiff, of counsel for both litigants, of one witness after another, attest to his alertness. Yet he is, since justice is to be served, disinterested. A person is uninterested if he is bored and indifferent. A person is disinterested if he is impartial, unbiased, neutral, not personally concerned or involved in a dispute. Number 1, as you are a disinterested party, we will let you settle our dispute. Number 2, don't look so uninterested. The play is not as boring as you seem to think. They try to arrive at a disinterested conclusion, or the board proved that we could not afford to maintain a disinterested attitude towards events in Europe. 5. She is uninterested in her neighbor's personal affairs. The grammar of allowable errors. It's liable to rain, or it's apt to rain. To denote probability, likely is the adjective to use. Strictly speaking, liable is restricted to the probability of an unpleasant or injurious occurrence, as you are liable to die if you drink cyanide of potassium. Cyanide of potassium. You are liable to be fined if you spit on a sidewalk. Still, strictly speaking, apt is supposed to show a general tendency, as little children are apt to be disobedient at times. A college graduate is apt to be a well-read person. However, many educated speakers do not conscientiously observe these narrow distinctions, and frequently use apt and liable as interchangeable synonyms of likely. To show ordinary probability, such use of apt and liable cannot reasonably be called incorrect English. C. The grammar of correct usage. A number of men are here, or a number of men is here. This is an instance in which the subject number is singular in form, but so strongly plural, meaning that it takes a plural verb, preparable forms. A number of men are here. A number of children are absent today. A large number of your questions do not admit of answers. A small number of houses are still unsold. Also, a lot of criminals get away with their crimes. A lot of my friends like you, even though I don't. But the number of workers in the industry has dropped. The greatest number of errors was made on part 2 was made. The number of prisoners has decreased. This lot of books was sold for a song. In other words, a number and a lot take plural verbs. The number, this number, that number, and the lot, this lot, that lot take single verbs. Chapter 15, How to Keep Your Sanity with Lay and Lie. Number 1, the problem. If it is correct to say, lay that pistol down, Mama, why can't we, with equal justification, say, lay down or lay not, Mama? The solution. Pronouns cause the greatest number of errors among literate adults. The verbs lay and lie cause the greatest number of headaches. More errors are made with pronouns than with any other parts of speech. Perhaps because there is such a variety of ways for a speaker to go wrong. 11 different forms of personal pronouns, including nominative and the objective case, form a healthy percentage of the average day's conversation. So the statistics I gathered in my classes which show pronouns as a leading cause of error are not exactly surprising. Although errors in lay and lie run second, numerically speaking, to errors in pronouns, the result of the investigation I have described showed this curious twist. Number one, the greatest number of errors was made in the use of pronouns. Number two, however, the greatest number of people made errors in the use of lay and lie. Of the 856 adults whose grammatical speech habits were charted, only 7 showed a perfect knowledge of the ramifications of these perplexing verbs. The test given to these adults, 9 of the 100 sentences required the checking of the correct form of one of these verbs. These were the results. 7 made a perfect score on all 9 sentences. These same 7 had an overall score between 90 and 100. 22 made 1 error. 62 made 2 or 3 errors. 534 made 4 errors. 131 made 5 or more errors. None made more than 7 errors. Of the 856 adults tested, roughly 12% were college graduates. 20% had had no 1 or 2 years of college training. 55% were high school graduates but had gone no further, and all the rest, about 13%, were primary school graduates. In other words, every one of these people had had some kind of training in grammar, either primary school, secondary school, or college, or all 3. Yet 849 out of 836 made 1 to 7 errors, 1 of 9 attempts to use lay and lie correctly. Obviously, these 2 verbs are a particular common and troublesome problem in English grammar, and well worth devoting some time and thought to. The key to the entire problem lies in your complete understanding of the difference between transitive and intransitive and passive verbs. A verb is passive if its subject receives its actions, such as, the gamblers were run out of town. Gambling has been stopped in the city. An active verb is transitive if it has an object. He runs to gambling casinos in Florida. Her face would stop a clock. An active verb is intransitive if it does not have an object. We ran all the way home. The clock has stopped. Since the rest of this chapter will be practically meaningless to you unless you have become a past master in the fine art of distinguishing transitive and intransitive verbs, let me impose upon your patience by asking you to submit to a quick test of your ability before we go any further. Each sentence contains an italicized verb. Check the symbol transit if the verb is transit, intransit if the verb is intransit. Intransit. Charles Jackson, author of The Lost Weekend, has also written a book called The Fall of Valor. That's transitive. Book is the object. Author has written. Book is the object. Okay, Duke. Number 2. Bernard Baruch accused Henry Wallace of making false statements about the atomic energy proposal. That's a transitive with the object Henry Wallace. 3. When you lie down on the bed, be careful. Intransitive. No object. Intransitive. Object. No object. Number 4. He walked upstairs slowly, silently, one step at a time. Intransitive. No object. Number 5. He has walked his dog several times around the block, but no success. Transitive verb. Has walked. Dog is the object. 6. Do not eat so quickly. Intransitive, no object. I just doubt this very much. It says same kind of sentence. Do not eat so much. You do not you to eat. Not eat. It's the verb. Do not eat. It says, I say it's intransitive. He says it's transitive. Both 6 and 7. Intransitive. No object. Number 6. Do not eat so quickly. There is no object, so it's an intransitive verb. Number 7. Same type of question. 7. Do not eat so much. Intransitive. He said it's transitive. Okay, Duke. Wait, hold on. Number 8. Landlords have no sympathy for the plight of their tenants. That's a transitive object, sympathy. Number 9. Teacher spoke fluently about her troubles. No object, so it's intransitive. Number 10. She spoke her piece and sat down. Piece is the object, so it would be a transitive verb. Here now are the 3 keys that will unlock for you all the puzzling secrets of lay and lie. Key number 1. Lie, or one of its forms, is exclusively an intransitive verb. Key number 2. Lay, or one of its forms, is on the other hand a transitive verb. Transitive verb. Key number 3. Only lay in its passive form may be used in the passive voice. Lie is never passive. That's never passive. When you are confronted with the necessity for making a choice between the form of lie and lay, these are the 3 points to remember. Point 1. If an intransitive verb is required because there is no object, use some form of lie. Point 2. If a transitive verb is required because there is an object, use some form of lay. Number 3. If a passive verb is required because the subject receives the action, use the passive form of lay. In the passive voice, the perfect participle of a verb is used. In the case of lay, the perfect participle is lead. For example, lie, transitive. Transitive, lie, and transitive. Number one, the hope of democracy lies in the economic security of the common man. 2, lie down for an hour before dinner. 3, why do we lie asleep all morning where there's so much work to be done? Whenever she lies down, the phone rings. His interests lie in the fields of science and technology. Lay is a transitive verb. Examples. 1. The hen lays an egg. Egg is the object, right? Okay. 2. That show will lay an egg. Egg is an object. Please lay the baby on its back. Baby is the object. 4. Pieces here. Pieces here. Shall we lay down our arms? Arms. Lay down. We lay down. 5. They will lay the body. Will lay the body. They will lay body to rest in Woodrow Cemetery. Woodlawn Cemetery. Laid. The perfect participle of laid. Passive voice. The keel of the ship was laid on Friday. When will the cornerstone of the building be laid? Cornerstone will be laid. Number 3, the rug was laid in the wrong room. 4, the body was laid to rest in Woodlawn. 5, groundwork for our understanding of lay and lie is now laid. Now laid. And it can be. Test 32. Number 1. When we lie on this bed, we can feel the springs coming through the mattress. No object, but you use a lie. 2. If you will lie, you'll lay. If you will lay away a few dollars every week. Dollars. You will lay dollars. Dollars is the object of cases, but lie still for a few minutes. No object to use. Don't lay the books on the shelf. It's too high. Lies. Lay the patient on the sofa so the doctor can examine. Patient is the object. Better. 6.